All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, Dom and Gonz Sports Talk, the show where we not talk about everything Baltimore Ravens but around the NFL. And welcome back to another post-game live show, Monday night reaction and breakdown, where we break down last week's game that we finished watching against the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Arizona Cardinals in a victory of 31-24. 7-point victory in week 9. That's what I was thinking about. So, Dom, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing, man. It's good to be here on a victory Monday. 3 straight victory Mondays, I should say the least. So it looks like the Ravens are still continuing to roll. Definitely a lot of things to digest for this game. Some things to clean up, some things to relish about. But we're going to deep dive into that right now. I'm excited, man.
I am ready. Now, before we start, I wanted to cover this. So today we heard some news, or I heard some news on Twitter, that the Ravens had a deal locked down for Derrick Henry today, 24 hours before the trade deadline. But it didn't go through because the Titans owner, I believe, it was either owner or GM, rejected it at the last minute. So what are your thoughts on that? Did you want Derrick Henry, or are we good with who we have?
Well, I did hear the reports about that too. I saw somebody say that that's not entirely true. I don't really know what to believe at this point. If that is true, it's very unfortunate because, I mean, Gus just pulled the hat trick yesterday. So it's kind of hard to say, like, oh, my God, we need help when we got a running backs doing that. I'm fine with or without. Like, Henry would not have been at the top of my priority list as far as trades is concerned. Of course, having him on the team would be absolutely fantastic. He would make us an absolute threat. But that's not really – I'm okay if we don't get him. Like, that wasn't at the top of my priority list anyway. I have 2 other priorities ahead of running back, I would say. So I'm kind of fine without it, even if that rumor is true that the trade was vetoed by the owner. But – yeah, I mean, having Derrick Henry in purple, it would definitely be good not to have to go against them anymore. So, but
as appetizing as that sounds, because that sounds really, really amazing to have King Henry at one point, our biggest nemesis, or one of them in the AFC. I'm thinking about 2019. That would be absolutely amazing, just from first looks. But honestly, if you actually take a deep look into the Ravens backfield, and we're going to talk about in a minute, Gus Edwards and his style of running and where he falls on this Ravens roster, I really don't think it's necessary. I think if they got Derrick Henry, it would create very big complications in the backfield. Gus Edwards, first of all, they're already kind of limiting his carries altogether, splitting the backfield with Justice Hill. And they would have had it with J.K. Dobbins for his injury. So I think getting Derrick Henry kind of eliminates what Gus Edwards' role is. Because what the Ravens do with Gus Edwards is what they would do with Derrick Henry. They bring him in to run down defenses. Just feed him the ball where he gets inside handoffs, right up the gut to wear down the defense, break tackles. And what the Ravens did with him yesterday in the fourth quarter is chug out those yards, falling forward, moving the chains, just wearing people down. And I really don't mind Derrick Henry not coming, because then what are they going to do with Gus? And it feels like they would almost like I feel disrespected with Gus Edwards. And the cool thing about it, I think Gus Edwards heard these rumors, and that's why he was able to go 19 carries for 80 yards yesterday and 3 touchdowns, really taking over that fourth quarter, especially. So I'm fine with that, because I think if you were to successfully trade Derrick Henry, you might have to throw Gus Edwards in that trade, because what would his role be? because Derrick Henry's role and Gus Edwards' role are sort of identical, in my opinion, when it comes to handing the ball off and churning out yardage. I know Gus Edwards is getting involved a little bit more with the passing game over the past few weeks, which is nice, which is not exactly what Derrick Henry does exactly, but he does catch passes out of the backfield. So the roles are identical. So I feel like you're kind of kicking Gus Edwards to the curb if you bring in a guy like Derrick Henry. While it sounds awesome, like the more the merrier in the backfield, you already kind of have a guy that can fill that role. So I'm completely fine with them not trading for him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm good if he's not on the team.
Yeah.
Gus and Justice have been doing a really good job of holding down the fort. Plus, we still have Keaton on standby. So, I mean, and he's shown that he could have flashes of being great. So I'm totally okay if we don't go after Henry. Again, amazing talent. Don't get me wrong. If it were to happen, I'm not going to deny him because he would just make us absolutely lethal. But I'm okay if we don't get him. We have two horses in the backfield ready to run at any point in time, and we still got Keaton Mitchell out here just showing flashes of greatness. So I'm cool on that end as well. Henry, we love you though.
Agreed. Now let's go ahead and transition to the game and what happened. Sort of a weird type of game, especially in the last few minutes. I felt like the ending of that game just dragged on and on and on. So there was a weird sequence at the end where the Ravens defense had allowed a late touchdown, and then the offense took it down the field. Didn't waste that much time, but they took it down the field, got a late touchdown with Gus Edwards to go up 31-15. And then where it got extremely weird was when the defense let him go right down again. And then all Nelson Aguilar had to do was recover the onside kick, and the score would have looked a little bit more pretty. It would have been a 10-point game, which is what I predicted, 10-point game. But Nelson Aguilar didn't go for the onside kick. He just stood back there. The ball bounced just about a few feet in front of him, hits Nelson Aguilar right in the chest. Well, maybe not in the chest, but just brushed up against him, pops straight up in the air. Cardinals recover, and they have the football down 31-21 with a minute or so left and no timeouts. So then what do? They drive another 25 yards, hitting Trey McBride on a giant pass. That kid had a pretty nice game, their backup tight end. And boom, there you know, it's 31-24, and it's a little bit of high drama, just a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. A little bit of high drama. I'm saying, I know this doesn't make too much sense, but if you're a Ravens fan, you just know every moment at the end, almost every moment at the end, aside from these past few games, has been high drama, high heart rate, high blood pressure type of games. So this one, it started to creep back in a little bit, but you still knew the Ravens were going to get it. Nelson Aguilar had another chance at the onside kick, nailed it, ran right under it like he should have on the first one, caught it right here, game over, 31-24. But that was after it went 31-15. So the defense surrendering – the defense, mind you, had a great game. I'll start with them. They looked dominant all game long, aside from the very beginning of the game and then the end of the game where they gave up those two late touchdowns. So, in the middle, just phenomenal. Phenomenal. A lot of missed tackles in the beginning, especially in the run game. So, yeah, the first drive of the game was not a very good sign. There were some costly penalties that they took, especially on that Hollywood Brown pass interference on Marlon Humphrey. That looked very sus. I didn't like that. I really didn't like that call at all. And then they also had a sack on the very first series of the game, the very first third down. I think Matabike got to him, and they called a penalty on Hamilton, didn't even show any replays, and just left it at that. So that was very sketchy. Officiating was not garbage this game, but there were shades of bad officiating.
It was sus. It was very much so sus.
I've seen way worse, but it wasn't that great at times. I'll give them that. But then after that, the defense just took over. They started doing a lot more. They started generating pressure, and then even got some turnovers. Brandon Stevens, a nice little interception on an overthrow right before halftime, to kind of give the offense a spark. And that's what the defense was doing all day. And that was what was great about this game. The offense couldn't get going too many times, but the defense was providing spark with the turnovers. Brandon Stevens, that one in the first half, and Geno Stone, who stole it away from Brandon Stevens in the second half, but nonetheless came up with a big interception to set the Ravens up inside the red zone to where they would go ahead and cash in. So, yeah, defense did its job. I would say they did it. They were getting gashed in the run game early, tightened up, started making tackles, and did pretty well. Although they showed some cracks in that armor at the end of the game, but I'm not too concerned about it because the Cardinals were in desperation mode. And we already know the Cardinals are capable of scoring some points. They beat the Cowboys. They put 30 on the Cowboys defense. They put 24 on some other couple defenses, like the Bengals. I think they scored 21 or 24 on the Bengals as well. So we already know they're capable of putting up some points. And I cannot let this go unannounced. The defensive side of the ball, player of the game, in my opinion, was Michael Pierce. My God, he was a force to be reckoned with. And then he was also just clogging up holes. I forgot how big Michael Pierce was. They were showing a bunch of instant replays on some of his stops in the game. One of those fourth down stops, mind you, that was great. He was a stonewall out there, just clogging up double teams, stuffing running backs, and he even got a strip sack on Dobbs in the third quarter that Jadeveon Clowney should have recovered. More on that in just a minute. That's great. Michael Pierce has still got stuff left in the tank. He's channeling some of his younger form from when he was with the Ravens back in 2018 and 19. So that's great to see. I mean, you've got guys all over the defensive line turning it up. Matabike, 2 more sacks to add to his name. Well, at least one.
No, it was one. Yeah, one.
Okay, so he's got 6 sacks on the season. He had 5 coming into this game, 6 sacks now. I mean, what a year. And we're only halfway through. So let's see if he can reach double digits this year. That would be amazing. That would be definitely a career high. So I'd love to see that. But, yeah, Michael Pierce, hats off to you. That's great. I'm so excited for him. And that's not even all who we have on the middle of the field. That's in addition to Travis Jones and Broderick Washington and Matabike and all these guys. So it's good to see big Michael Pierce, show out. Show us that he, when he's healthy, he can be a factor. And that's phenomenal. And by the way, building off what I said earlier, just look at the guy. He's huge. He's not even that tall. He's just thick. Just thick. And I love how he can just clog up those running lanes. Good job, Michael. Big Mike, great. Last thing before I turn it over to Dom for the defense. When Michael Pierce forced that fumble, and it ended up working out in the long run anyway, but that ball was rolling backwards. And who had a shot at it? Jadeveon Clowney. Add this to his list of plays that were almost made. Whether earlier in the year it was the sacks, he would get to the quarterback, grab the quarterback, throw the quarterback, but not bring him down for the sack. This one, he had a fumble recovery, and he tried to pick it up and run with it, and he ended up bobbling in it like a little kid trying to pick up a block. And I was so annoyed. Just fall on the damn ball, Jadeveon, because you got people right behind you. You're not scoring. You're really not going to score. You're going to pick it up and get tackled. So why not pick it up on the easy way? Fall on it like a fat guy. That's what you should have did. You got to be aware. You're not going to score. I would understand if you got nobody behind you. If the only person was Dobbs and he was on the ground. But you had 3 offensive linemen, at least 1 or 2, in the area to grab you by the feet. You're not scoring. Just jump on the ball. Just jump on the football, and you'll be fine. So, but not a lot to complain about for the defense. I'm telling you, between that first drive and the end of the game, defense was lights out. They were holding it down, making tackles. Roquan Smith was an animal at times again. But happy to say that. Happy about the defense's performance overall. But if you talk to him after the game, Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey said, no, this is not our standard. So while they played a pretty damn perfect game for about 97%, that other 3%, they weren't satisfied. And that kind of ruined everything for them. So I love it. I love where we're at right now with the heads. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. We are always looking for things to fix. And I love that mentality. I love that mentality. I feel like it's a little bit different than what it used to be. Because people used to say, oh, it was good enough. We got the dub. And now people are saying, yes, we got the dub, but there's still plenty to fix. We are not good in this area right now. So I love that. I really love the mentality. But defense, I would rate them a B+ this game, maybe A-. It would have been an A+ if they didn't give up those touchdowns in the beginning and the end. But solid overall. Good enough to win. Well, more than good enough to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you from a mentality standpoint. It is good to see that they're not staying complacent in where they are, because technically right now they are a top 5 defense in the league. Let's not get anything twisted. Let's not get anything messed up here. They are a top 5 defense in the league right now. They're competing with other defenses in this league. Let's not get it twisted. I also agree with the point that this was not the standard that they could have performed at for all 4 quarters. Now, mind you, they did hold them scoreless in the second and third quarter, which I can appreciate, but that fourth quarter giving up 17 when, it's in any game, that momentum shift can happen at any time. We've seen it happen before with us multiple times. So in that fourth quarter, when you're giving up 17, it's like, dang, we should have put this game away a while ago. And then, because you're giving them those scores, you're giving them life and you're giving them momentum. So at that time, they're thinking like, oh, shoot, first of all, we scored, we recovered an onside kick, we can score again. Like, we have a chance of winning this joint. Like, I feel like the Ravens right now, their mentality is we want to come in, we want to whoop you, and we want to keep you down while you're down. And I think that was a mentality because of all the blown leads we've had in the past. Like Dolphins, Jaguar, I can name all the blown leads. But I think, defensively, they're just like, listen, man, we got to kick them in the mouth, and we got to keep our foot in their mouths after the kick, because we've given up way too many leads in the past, and we got to keep the lead when we have it. And the defense, I believe, behind Roquan as the leader, that mentality has just gotten stronger this season, and I love to see it as well. Not staying complacent with putting up the stats that they have, putting up the numbers that they have. The numbers don't really matter if the wins don't equate, and they're proving to us that they care about wins just as much too. So we love to see it. Geno Stone, multiple games with interceptions, currently still the interception leader with 5 picks on the year. He's doing great right now, without Marcus Williams, and him and Kyle Hamilton back there has been really, really great. And Geno Stone was a 7th round pick, and now he's leading the league in interceptions. Really just think about that for a second. He was a 7th round pick, bro, and he's out here leading. I love to see it. I love the role that he's cementing himself in. He knows what he's capable of, and he's coming out there and showing it on the field every week consistently. And I love to see that. And the funny thing is about, speaking of interceptions, Brandon Stevens, like you mentioned earlier, I was a little nervous for him coming into this year, but he's really been playing well consistently over the past couple of weeks. And I've been enjoying it. I've really been enjoying seeing Brandon Stevens just emerge himself as a really good corner. And it's, he's silencing all the haters. I mean, we love to see that. I think we had 2 sacks this game. It was just Matabike and Pierce. Like you said, Pierce was just a wall out there, just shoving dudes, get out. You're not going anywhere today, after the Ravens were giving up decent runs earlier in the game to the Cardinals running back. So I'm glad that he's really coming into it, because I knew when Michael Pierce is healthy, and that's why I'm mad he got injured last year, because I feel like it would have been the same last year if we had him, but that's neither here nor there. He's here now, and he's showing it in full force. Matabike has 6.5 sacks this season. 6.5 sacks. If anything, we have to do everything in our power to retain that. The man is going crazy right now. The Ravens D-line is really, really playing
Better
well.
than last.
And better than last year. Way better than last year. And you know me, I was complaining all summer, talking about our defensive line, how we're not getting pressure. Now we're leading the league in sacks. I love the improvement from us on the defensive line. That's
They're
great.
replacing Calais Campbell well. I think
Yeah.
is more dominant than Calais Campbell was last year.
I agree. And Calais did officially get his 100th sack this year. I love to see it. Thank you. Shout out to Calais. We love you. I'm glad he was able to get his 100th sack this year. But, like, the defensive line has just shown such great improvement from last year. And that's with the additions that we had with Clowney, with Van Noy, you know, Oweh coming back. Like, they're showing it, and we love to see it. I'm hoping that we can, like, the funny thing is, coming to this game defensively, I knew after what we did to the Lions last week, I kind of came into this game like, okay, you know, we're going to do some stuff that's not going to make a lot of sense. And I feel like the 17 points in the fourth quarter was kind of the thing that didn't make a lot of sense, because you hold them scoreless in the second and third quarter. We scored a touchdown in pretty much every quarter, and it's like, you know, I mean, it just is what it is. You give up 24 points to the Cardinals. But like you said before, the Cardinals have been putting up points against good teams all year. They might not have been getting the wins, but they are putting up the numbers. So, I mean, it's any given Sunday for anybody. I'm glad this wasn't our any given Sunday. But defensively, the defense, you know, they just did what they did. They came up, they showed up, and they showed out for most majority of the game.
I like that. And this is more important. They found a way to win and not fall into a trap game. Because if you're looking around the NFL, a lot of teams are falling for their trap games. I'm looking at you, 49ers. I'm looking at you, Kansas City, who took a big L. Patrick Mahomes' very first road loss to a division opponent in his career, let alone his very first loss to the Denver Broncos. He was undefeated, and he went into Denver yesterday and couldn't even score a touchdown and lost 21-9. So I will take a 7-point win over an inferior opponent, especially in this league when you're seeing it left and right every single week, inferior opponents knocking off top teams. So this win today, it puts us at the top of the AFC, or this win yesterday, puts us at the top of the AFC, tied with the Chiefs and the Dolphins for the 1 seed. So that's a pretty damn good spot to be at the beginning of November. We've only got 2 more months of football left. We're halfway there. Let's duke it out for that top seed. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I am not complaining about finding ways to win 31-24, because you've seen Ravens lose those type of games when they start melting down in the fourth quarter, but nope, not today.
That's why I said in that fourth quarter, I'm glad that they didn't give it up like we have in the past, like last year, and we weren't giving up those big leads. We stayed consistent defensively. Defense stayed composed. They stayed disciplined. Not a lot of major penalties, I believe, in that fourth quarter to like give up anything too huge. But like, I'm just glad we didn't blow that, because losing to the 1-6 Cardinals when the Bengals and the Browns were able to eke out wins yesterday.
Browns
lost too?
Yes.
Browns won yesterday. They lost? No. Oh, okay. Well, in the game where the Bengals were able to eke out a win, and I don't know if this is when Burrow is starting to heat up, like, these wins matter. So I'm glad they were able to avoid the trap game as well. And the defense, again, was able to close this game out because, again, every win matters, especially in the division that we're in, because it's still very competitive.
We're going to talk about those games in a little bit, but yeah, the Bengals are feeling a little better, but I'm telling you, the 49ers are in a free fall. They are just not looking good.
I'm a little less afraid to play them now, a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to play the Niners. Yeah. Well, we'll get a shot at them in a few weeks. And mind you, they need it more than us because we already have the tiebreaker over them. But anyway, let's talk a little bit the offense. What was great about Sunday was they were 4 for 4 in the red zone. 4 touchdowns on 4 red zone trips, which is amazing. And this team can go everywhere, wherever they need to go if the offense is putting up red zone touchdowns. So they've kind of gotten back to their old ways now, like they were at the beginning of the year. That's 4 touchdowns this week. And then last week they were 5 for 6. So that's 9 for 10 in the red zone the past 2 weeks. So that's phenomenal numbers. 90% red zone touchdown percentage. Keep that up. And this team can be very dangerous moving forward. So other than that, the Ravens offense was not moving up and down the field like we're used to. They were getting stalled out. The Cardinals were playing with an edge on defense. Really not too many people open, like we're used to. The wide receivers were kind of stuffed. Andrews had a couple catches, 4 for 40. He was their leading receiver in that touchdown on the first drive. But the passing game looked a little bit off. Lamar was trying to hold the ball as long as he could and took a couple of sacks that were not because of blitzes or pressure, just because he held on to it too long, I thought. We'll check the film on that, but it doesn't look like people were open to me. I can't sit there and say Lamar's just holding the ball forever. He's probably just waiting for somebody to get open. So I'm gonna watch the film. We'll see what Cole Jackson brings us on Twitter this week about who's open and who's not down the field on most of those plays. But yeah, the Cardinals secondary locked it down for the most part. Not a lot of guys open. So it was good to see the running game open up in the second half. Because the first half, the passing game, they were trying to lean on that at the beginning. Not too many things open. Talk about Lamar Jackson overall. I think he went about 15 of 29 or 15 of 24 or something. I don't know. Not a very high completion percentage for only about 150 yards passing, so didn't have to do much in that touchdown to Mark Andrews on their very first possession. So that was nice that they answered the Cardinals' touchdown with a touchdown of their own. But everything just looked a little out of sync. And I'm starting to see what Kurt Warner was talking about when it comes to spacing and timing. Because especially in that first quarter, on that touchdown drive, the timing was off, it looked like. And it was noticeable on a lot of their completions. That throw to Bateman, ill-advised. Very ill-advised. But he was able to rip it away from the defender for the catch. So that's what you want to see. Not Lamar's sharpest game with accuracy also. But what I really liked about this was that his wide receivers were making plays for him. Okay? I'll repeat that. The wide receivers were making plays for Lamar. When have we seen that consistently? It's always Lamar having to make the play for the wide receivers. If it wasn't right there in the breadbasket, it was a drop for the most part. Back last year, the year before. So Lamar was a little bit off target and with some of these reads, but people were making good catches, especially Bateman. He almost threw a pick six to Odell Beckham on one play. It was terrible. That would have put up the Cardinals 14-0. I don't know what that was. He was drifting left, threw it to the right on an out route. Cardinals guy jumped it, just dropped the ball. Odell kind of knocked it out as well, but that was dangerous. Just not very sharp from the passing game today. But they were able to get enough plays in there to get the dub, like we said. Only 150 yards passing, nowhere near as much as last game. But like I said, the running game, Gus Edwards, this was his game. This was the game to lean on him in the second half. He really got hot in that fourth quarter. He took that game over. He started churning out yardage, 5 to 6 to 7 yards per carry every time, taking more than one or two Cardinals to bring them down. That's what you want to see from Gus Edwards. That's what you need. Wear down the defense in the fourth quarter and secure the dub, and that's exactly what they did. Got 19 rushes for 80 yards. Pretty good. Just over 4 yards a carry. So congrats, Gus. His first game as a Baltimore Raven with 3 touchdowns in one game. So that's very good to see. He's got 6 on the year. So nice job. Offensive line. Not the worst job in the world, but also not the greatest. They allowed some more pressures. There was one play, Ronnie Stanley missed a key block on a Zay Flowers screen where he would have been off to the races. Cardinals sent a cover 0. Everybody was picked up for. Aguilar had a man. Beckham had a man. And all Stanley had to do, now mind you, it might have been a hard play, was swing off the line and go block the safety. He couldn't get him. Zay Flowers tackle for a loss. It would have been a huge play. It would have been a first down and a lot more, I thought, in my opinion. Y'all could go watch the tape. I think this was in the second quarter, I believe. So the Ravens was kind of still stuck in the mud on offense. But like I said earlier, the defense got those key takeaways to help the offense take over with short fields, and the offense turn those short fields into touchdowns, what you want to see. And there's the complimentary football Dom harps on every single week. That's what we need. That's what you need. Offense struggling, defense picked you up, got you the pick, punch it in for a touchdown, you're up, and you're going to be rolling. So nice job. Efficient day for the offense. I mean, at the end of the day, they still put up 31. I looked at the scoreboard in the fourth quarter and said, wow, the offense was struggling to move all day, in my opinion, and they still scored 31 points. So that's pretty impressive. So decent day for the offense. No turnovers, I don't think. No fumbles, no interceptions.
Almost a fumble. Almost had a fumble.
Did,
But, yeah, I was on.
Gus Edwards.
Yeah,
Caught
yeah.
the ball. Yeah. Which you don't see from him often, but he was
And
able to
then
get.
remember the Lamar Jackson almost fumble, too, when he was in the pocket. He was about
that
to
was
throw
clear.
the ball, and then just the almost. That's why I said the almost fumble.
They
Just
spent
the
20
almost
minutes
fumble.
on that.
Reviewing that, like I was like,
His arm was going forward.
yeah.
But yeah, they did enough to win.
They
But
did.
definitely room for improvement on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes, absolutely. There's definitely some things that need to be cleaned up. It was not a clean offensive performance, but like you said, it was efficient in the win. 4 for 4 in the red zone. You can't really complain about that too much. I know Lamar will probably be kicking himself for this game because he felt like he left a lot of points on the board. He even said himself in the press conference, he was like, we're punting more than we did in the Lions game. Don't really like that. Definitely left some points out there. But I mean, again, he's kind of like, he's super locked in right now. Like he's focused. He wants he wants what everybody wants. He wants a bowl. And, he's trying to be as perfect as he possibly can. Every game I can't say is going to be like that because obviously these defenses are going to key in and they're going to know what they want. They're going to know what Lamar wants to do. So 157 yards through the air, 1 passing touchdown to Andrews. I mean, it was a decent game, not his best game. No picks. We do love no picks. He had some scary ones. Bateman just went up there and manhandled the dude to get the ball, like you mentioned earlier. I was like, Bateman, we need more at Bateman. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, Bateman out here making plays like that. I'm targeting him. I'm just throwing it up to see what he can do because I need more of that from Bateman. Bateman also got a hand a little bit with the jet sweep action. Like, I'm really starting, like, I really want them to scheme Bateman more. Because I feel as though when you're giving him those opportunities, his confidence is only going to get better. And then once his confidence is better, his game is better. And then, like, that's just another weapon that people have to be afraid of. So let's try to scheme Bateman open a little more. OBJ. I know there's a clip surfacing around about OBJ being frustrated after drawing that PI penalty. And he's really, I think, here's my thing about OBJ. And I was talking to some colleagues about this earlier. Like, I think OBJ, after coming off a serious injury, and questioning whether he wants to play. I know he wanted to play, but I know there's always that sense like, maybe I don't have to play, maybe I won't play. And, he's talking with teams and he signs to the Ravens on a 1-year deal. And he's like, I know when I'm coming into the squad, I'm coming into a lot of young receivers, and I'm the vet. And, I want to come into the squad, and I want to come help them win, and I want to come make plays. And, he's missed a couple of games, and he hasn't really always been on the field, missing a couple of games with injury. And I think it's just frustrating because he wants to be out there really, really badly, and he wants to, like, have an impact on this team. And I think that, like, it's kind of being hindered a lot of the times when he's, like, drawing these fouls. Now, mind you, the fouls are very beneficial for us because it puts us in better positions to score. But I know that he wants to have a bigger impact on the game as far as, like, more – like, and Lamar even said again in the press conference, he's like, I'm trying to get OBJ a touchdown. Like, I want him to score in the worst way possible. And I love that, trying to get OBJ open. But I think his frustrations on the sideline were more so that, like, dude, I just want to be the best person I can be for this team. And I want to perform to the best of my ability for this team. And I just don't think he's satisfied with his performances so far. And that it's just been a growing frustration for him. So I can kind of see that from a competitive standpoint. But I think his time is coming. And then once it does, his confidence will also be more higher.
Well, listen. I know he's frustrated that he's not getting the catches, but he's drawing these PIs, and those are huge.
That is
And
true.
if the guy doesn't interfere with him at the end of the game, he catches that. It's right here. It's literally right here. The guy, I thought it's a beautiful throw. It's right on the money. It was going to hit him right here in the breadbasket. He was ready with his hands, falling to the ground, but the guy got his hands up in there. He was grabbing and holding the whole time. If he doesn't flag him right there, he's catching that. And I think it's just frustrating. Teams are doing this. Beckham must be open for all these flags because he must be close to making these catches, or else they wouldn't be throwing the flags. The only one where he wasn't super close to catching it was that interception on Joey Porter. So he's going to get one. I feel like he's going to get one sooner or later.
Yeah, I think his time is coming.
And we talked about this last week. They're getting him involved. They're giving him targets. He didn't have any catches last week, but he's getting flags. The yardage is just as valuable as catching the ball. So, yeah, while it doesn't go down for an Odell Beckham reception on his stat sheet, it matters. It really does matter. And Lamar's on ones, he's throwing it deep, giving them a chance, and they're interfering him. So the touchdowns will come.
Like his opportunities will continue to grow.
There's too many people in this offense for them to be one guy, have one guy who goes off. They got Mark Andrews. They got Zay Flowers. They got Aguilar. They've got Bateman now who's making plays. So Odell's getting his targets. So I know he's frustrated, but he can't really expect to just be the number one wide receiver with 1,000 yards while everyone else has 300. So it's like, because they just got too many people, and they're going to spread the ball around. So I think he's being hard on himself. I don't mind that at all. But from the Ravens standpoint, they have to be appreciative of what they're getting from him right now. Coming off the injury, like you said, but still generating these major penalty yardage that they're getting. Those are huge plays.
Yeah, and I'm sure they are appreciative of that. And I know he's appreciative of, Lamar targeting him and those things. And I don't think it's like the lack of opportunity. I think it's more so like he's trying to make the best of those opportunities, but he just is feeling like he can't because, there's something always in his way, or there's somebody like trying to you know what I mean? And I get that because, you want to, again, you sign this deal and you want to be a part of the team. You want to help them win. And you feel as though when you have the ball in your hands, you feel like you can do that. But at the same time, it's like when somebody's up in you, when somebody is when there's a constant hindrance of you getting into the end zone, it's like, dang, when is my time to shine? So I agree. I know he'll get better. I think his touchdown will come very, very soon. But I just wanted to address that because I know a lot of people were saying he was frustrated, like he wasn't getting the ball, but I don't think it was from a selfish standpoint. I think it's from OBJ's stance is that he's just trying his best to be what he is. And that's just a dynamic receiver. And it's just hard to do that when, all that's happening. And I'm sure the Ravens do appreciate all the calls that he's drawn because it has helped them get in position to win a lot of these times. So that's great for him. Andrews is now leading tight ends and touchdowns right now with 6. So shout out to half man, half Drews for being who he is. It's always – and he did it in Arizona, which is nice to see in his hometown. So we love to see that.
Real quick before we transition, I wanted to address the Kurt Warner stuff that I brought up earlier because I know I said it. I said I saw what Kurt Warner was talking about, but I didn't address it. The biggest example was that Andrews touchdown that you just brought up. I mean, yeah, I'm so glad they got it, but did you see the timing on that?
Clunk. Yeah, everything was clunk.
Stepping up, holding the ball forever. Andrews settles down in the zone. He gets it to him, touchdown. But someone was just plowed right into him. Was it Zay Flowers, I believe, who was on a crossing route?
I think it was Zay.
Boom,
yeah,
right?
I think it was Zay.
And I'm like, oh, my God, what just happened right there? That could have been bad. It looked bad. And I'm starting to see now, and there was a couple times on that drive before they got the touchdown where the wide receivers were running right near each other or bumping into each other, and the timing was just off. There wasn't rhythm getting rid of the football. He's holding it forever, throwing it late. So I see what he was saying, and we need to clean that up a little bit in the future. because I don't think that's a sustainable way to play. Now, you could credit the Cardinals for throwing off the timing because they were playing lockdown coverage all week, all day long, in my opinion. I mean, again, we'll see the tape this week. But I definitely was seeing that the reminiscence of clunkiness that Kurt Warner was talking about last week. Spacing, timing, all that. So hopefully we can get that cleaned up a little bit. It was definitely more noticeable this week than it was in the Lions game. So
yeah, absolutely. To my eyes, that Lions game was probably the perfect we played in months. But yeah, you could definitely notice like the stuff things were off, like offensively, like the time things just have to get down packed more. And Monken has addressed this multiple times. He said, "Listen, man, it's my job to fix that. You know, as the players are supposed to execute, it's my job to make sure that the schemes are good and things are great, like timing wise. So, I mean, that it's just good that they know these things, so they know that it has to be fixed. So hopefully down the line, the offense will move a lot smoother. But you're right; it was definitely noticeable more in this game than it was beforehand. And I'm hoping that, you know, as we continue to get guys involved, as guys, like Lamar targets multiple receivers every game. Like he's not just throwing it to the same guy every game. So hopefully, as these guys get more opportunities, hopefully as they get more confident in their game, the plays become a lot smoother, and you know things start to get in sync a little bit more. Let's see. Is there anything else offensively that I feel like I need to address?
I think we
I mean,
on the head.
yeah, I think that was about
I
it.
don't want to rush this, but my device is starting to run out of power. So I kind of want to wrap this up before I get booted off. So I hate to cut but
Good.
I want to say real quick, this proved to be a big win because Browns and Steelers both took losses. And again, I told you, all you need to do against Pittsburgh is bury them, do your job, not fumble. And the Jags tried to give it to him. They give it to him. I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw arguably his worst interception of his career in triple coverage on the goal line, on the 5-yard line, that resulted in them not getting points with a 6-0 lead. I went crazy. They fumbled 2 more times, and I said, oh, here we go. Other team self-implodes, and they're going to take a loss. But the Pittsburgh offense was sucking so bad that game, they couldn't do anything with the turnovers. They got 3 points off all 3 of those turnovers in the first half. 3 points. And then they missed the field goal because they thought they got screwed on a bad call. You guys get lucky every game. Just stop with the bad calls. All right, yeah, you got screwed, whatever. He wasn't offsides. They took away the free 3 points. But, hey, I mean, that's what it feels like to be you, to play you, to get effed over by the refs. So suck it, Pittsburgh. Y'all aren't good. Get ready for your Thursday night game against Mayo Man Will Levis. I've got him. I think he can go in there and win. If they can protect him, let him throw to D-Hop, they can do it. They can do it.
Man, they went crazy. That duo went crazy.
Right. And then the Browns, heartbreaking loss at the end of the game.
Yeah, I thought they won. I honestly was misinformed. I thought they won that game.
Nope, they got.
But obviously,
no. So this puts the Ravens at 6-2. Everyone else in the AFC North is 4-3. So they got a game-and-a-half lead over everyone. So that's great to see. They was wanted. We were tired of these teams winning every week. So now we get to see them take losses and start to separate a little bit.
I was really hoping the Niners could knock out the Bengals. I was honestly hoping for that. But Purdy has just been off.
But we'll see what happens next week. We'll see you guys. We're going to have to wrap up out of here before I get booted off. I think I'm on 2% right now. So, guys, we're happy on this Victory Monday. Halloween is tomorrow. I'm actually going to rep my Lamar Jackson jersey for work tomorrow. My costume is going to be dressing up as Lamar Jackson, and I'll bring a football and I'll throw some passes. So, yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Dom and God Sports Talk on this Victory Monday with this Cardinals-Ravens breakdown. We had fun talking about it, and we'll see you on Friday for the pregame show for our next important matchup against the Seattle Seahawks in Baltimore at 1 p.m. So that'll be an interesting one. Seahawks are 5-2, Ravens are 6-2. So both teams are coming off nice wins or close wins. I think the Ravens was better, a little bit more dominant, but the Browns got to come from the Seahawks got to come from behind victory, scoring in the last 30 seconds on the Browns. So that should be a good one, and we're looking forward to it. All right, well, Thanks again, everybody, for joining. We're going to head on up out of here. Remember, if you're on YouTube watching this, please leave a like and a subscription if you enjoyed. Comment down below if your team won this week or any questions or concerns you may have for us. We'd love to answer it. And yeah, we're on the road to 50 subscribers, so please, please, please share if you enjoyed. So guys, we're going to get on up out of here. This is Dom and Gonz. This is Gonz over here, Dom over there. We're going to sign out. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday. Happy Halloween.